AITA for charging my 16-year-old nephew rent to live with me? In February, my 16-year-old nephew moved out of my younger sister's home and came to live with me. My sister has 4 other kids with my nephew's stepdad. The oldest is 8 and the youngest is just a few months. My nephew and his stepdad both hate each other. My nephew had been couch surfing with friends on and off for a few months before he moved in with me. My roommate moved out at the end of last year and I can afford the rent without him now, so wasn't planning on having someone else move in. My nephew has a job and works around 20 hours a week. When I offered him a place to stay, it was on the condition that he pays me 10% of weekly paycheck. His mom knows I am taking part of his earnings as rent and has no problem with it. However, my older sister, not his mom, found out I was charging him rent to live with me and thinks I'm an asshole. She says because he is still 16, nobody should be charging him rent. I disagree, as he has a bedroom he can sleep in free of charge and where he can get all his food free of charge. He is choosing not to live there. He is choosing to live with me even though he knew up front he would have to pay rent. I don't have any kind of custody and am not his legal guardian. His mom still is. My sister argues because I can afford to house him, feed him, etc. that means I'm charging him for no reason. I can afford it but not comfortably, as my grocery bill has doubled and electric has gone up. And he should be saving or spending that money on himself. She also thinks he's not really choosing to live with me but rather choosing to live somewhere he feels safe, which is not with his stepdad, and that I'm making him pay for something he has a right to. This point makes me question myself, as I somewhat agree. I know he would rather be living with his mom because they are very close, but living with his stepdad has become too hard for him. He would probably live anywhere else right now. I am also the only relative that lives in the same town as his mom. So even if my older sister would happily let him live with her, she lives too far away. I'm his only alternative option that isn't his friends' houses. AITA? Info is his mother trying to fix things at home for him to come back. Counseling, etc. Or did she just flat choose her husband over her kid? YTA for charging a minor rent. His parents should be paying for him. Whether you need it or not, his parents should be paying CS. A 16-year-old should be encouraged to finish HS. Think about college, trade school, and working part-time to start saving. Your older sister is right. YTA. Pay him back every dime you have taken from him. He has lost his home, his mom, his siblings, and you are charging him rent. He's 16 and a minor. This is gross. YTA, poor kid is scared to be at home and you want to charge him rent? Not okay. Wait a minute. In your post history you mention having 5 kids, but here you refer to your sister having 5 kids and you don't mention any kids of your own. So are you lying in this post or were you lying in the other one? Info: why aren't you getting this money from his mother? He's a minor. Except nephew. Mom and stepdad should be paying you all his expenses if they are not willing to create a home where he feels safe. You should be supporting him emotionally and getting financial assistance from the adults legally responsible for providing for the minor in your care. The stepfather should treat him better and not make his mom choose. And mom should not allow her husband to run her child out of his own home. Nephew has enough barriers in place right now. He doesn't need to feel like a financial burden or a payday on top of everything else. YTA. This kid wanted to live with you because you make him feel safe when home doesn't. He's a teenager who's still in school, working part-time. Don't make his life harder by charging rent. If you want to teach him budgeting, have him set up a percentage of his paycheck auto-route to a savings account instead. I believe the indignation of sister will stop the moment she hears, well, nephew can live in your house for free. Then it will be a mixture of, I don't have the space, money is tight, you're just trying to make me look bad, with the reinforcement of, you should do it for free. If you tell her to host the nephew and she bulks the way I mentioned, offer to host him without asking for his money as long as she covers the money for him. And tell her she can give him the money directly and it isn't a problem for you. If she argues by asking why should she do it, tell her that if she is willing to make nephew's rent money your problem, she can truly contribute by putting her own money where her mouth is. And if she isn't willing, then she has no right of voicing an opinion since she isn't one of the involved parties. To be honest, I don't have enough facts to really make an opinion, but I would put yourself in his shoes for a moment. What you want someone to do for you at age 16. If he doesn't pay for a month, what will you do? Evict him? Think about the potential courses of action and choose appropriately. What are the long-term consequences with his sense of safety? Family. Your relationship with other family members. It may be fine to teach him that things cost money, but once you have money, it isn't wrong to use it to help others out. Why isn't his mother pitching in for groceries? YTA. This not a normal situation and you charging rent to a child that's clearly fleeing a toxic environment just isn't it. YTA, you are taking advantage of a child who was seeking a safe place to live. If you need money to cover the increased expenses, talk to his mom. Maybe you can help him set up a savings account so he can work towards getting his own place some day. But charging a child rent isn't okay. If his mom has such a problem, she can pay you child support payments. NTA 10% is less than $15 a week. And this is going by the federal minimum wage $7.25 an hour. The kid has no other bills and can spend the rest of his money as he sees fit. I'm a mom. 10% is fair. He'll feel more independent and less of a burden and will have less of an incentive to spend frivolously. Those are all good life experiences for a guy with a paycheck that in reality wouldn't cover rent on his own. And he'll be getting that. Food, utilities, and peace. Why haven't you asked your sister to give you little something to cover your increased expenses? Hers should have gone down at least a little with him not there eating the food. NTA. I don't think you should charge your nephew. I think you should get money from his mom and from your older sister, who clearly wants to help. It costs a lot to feed a 16-year-old, and there's a lot of extra electricity, laundry, water, etc. NTA. If your sister is so upset, then she could be sending you some money to cover for the extra expenses. It's easy to have an opinion, but at the end of the day no one else is stepping up to help your nephew. NTA. Sounds like your older sister likes to complain when she doesn't have skin in the game. A simple response is that the expense for nephew is X dollars per month. So is she willing to send that much? Split it with you? 10% of paycheck really isn't all that much, and it probably helps him feel better about his decision. Because like you said, he has a room at home that he can use for free. He's old enough to understand that while he has a right to food and shelter, you are not the person obligated to provide it. If you really feel bad about taking his money, just keep it in a savings account and give it to him as a gift when he leaves for college. Or whatever. Enjoy this time with your nephew.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.